everybody. Welcome to another edition of Coach's Night Out. Of course, we are live from Town Square Social, 145 Public Square. Open for lunch and dinner 7 days a week. Cody and Kyle also operate Cedar City Brewery right across the square at 112 Public Square. Our sponsors, Advantage Roofing Contractors, LLC, Donnie Self, Rob Painter, Shop Springs Creamery, Jeffrey and Elizabeth Turner, the Salas Realty Group, 120 Public Square, Lebanon, THW Insurance Service, LLC, 321 West Main Street, Cumberland University Athletics, and D.T. McCall & Sons, Lebanon, Carthage, Lafayette, Franklin, and Cookeville, home of free delivery. Coach's Night Out airs live right here on Blue Devil Broadcasting. You can also find this show on Twitter at TB Sports 5, and at 8:30 a.m. Thursday morning, it's replayed on the Wilson Post Facebook page, and it will be on several of our other Facebook platforms, our social media platforms. Here's a look at the Week 6 schedule. Now, this show is being brought to you live on Wednesday. This is the schedule as we have it now. Nobody has changed their football games for the weather. But again, it is Wednesday. Middle Tennessee Christian School will play at Friendship. That's a 7:30 kickoff. Lebanon at Watertown. Green Hill at Gallatin. Wilson Central at Mount Juliet. Mount Juliet Christian Academy at DCA. That also is a 7:30 football game. Chuck Gentry, head coach of the Blue Devils, joins us here. And you were looking at the weather before we went on. There's, it's just like real life, Chuck. We can talk about the weather all we want to. There's nothing we can do about it. And it's not your home game. So Coach Webster and the folks at Watertown have said, as of today, we're going to play that football game on Friday.
Oh, it's one less worry for me. I don't like trying to play weatherman. I don't envy his choice of trying to say, again, this is supposed to be a money game, and water sometimes gets in the way of people coming to games. And so I don't envy his choice. We text back and forth today, and I said, you tell me when to show up, we'll be there. And he said, I'll see you Friday with your boots. So, that's nothing that we can control, and hopefully the weathermen we do need some rain, and maybe we'll get it and it'll get gone and won't be as bad as we think. And then maybe after Friday night it can rain all it wants to.
Speaking of water, during this dry spell, you guys have been putting a lot of water on the game field and the practice field, haven't you? It was really green. It looked good. I went up there Monday to pick up a piece of equipment that I had misplaced, and looking down, the field looked great.
Well, Coach Brady does a wonderful job doing all that, and I don't know how much he's watered it. I only tell him when I want him to turn the water off, and so hopefully, we take care of it. I know he fertilized it not too long, mowed it, fertilized it, and all the things, and it looks very green. So, like I say, he does a good job with that, and I mess up enough things, so I try to stay out of the way of him taking care of the field.
Well, it looks good. I know Watertown will have a good playing surface when Lebanon goes there. Again, it's just a matter of what are the conditions going to be like. Does a lot of rain impact what you want to do in any of the three phases of the football game?
It'll make depending the last time I was there, good surface, good field. They, nice and low and tight and stuff, and I'm sure they've got it prepared. If it was up to me, I'd want it on a dry field, but we practiced today to play in the rain. So, it is what it is. You can't control those things. Yes, if it's wet, we'll probably run it much more than, and there's a lot of the calls that we add to the run game might be not there. It makes the snapping and holding and kicking and punting and all that stuff magnified, which that will greatly affect what we do. And then, from the defensive side, one game they threw it close to 40 some times, and so if it's coming a monsoon and a 20-mile-an-hour wind, I don't think that they're going to line up and throw it 40 times. So it depends. I'm sure he's weighed that with what he's doing, but it's football's made to be played in the elements, and we'll show up and do as needed. Like I say, we practice 2 or 3 different. Obviously it will affect the game plan depending on water, wind, rain, all that stuff. But it's just something that you also kind of feel out how your kids can handle it during the pregame and go from there.
Watertown is playing an awful lot of young kids. I know they don't have very many seniors on that roster, and looking at what they do offensively, they may only have a couple of seniors that play on the offensive side of the football.
I may be wrong in saying this, but the 2 deep is littered with a lot of sophomores and juniors, and I think 5 is what I counted on the 2 deep as starters.
5 seniors
on both sides. Yeah, if you count them, one, some of those play both ways.
Yeah.
So, they are a very, very young football team, but now that you look into it, I told our kids just a few minutes ago, we're 5 games in. You're halfway to being whatever you are. Gone, junior, being a senior, sophomore being a junior, freshman, we've got 1 game left Monday. And so, you're there. And some of these mental mistakes, the errors and things, you got to clean up and some of that. And ours is focus. When we are on our P's and Q's and focused, I'm not going to say a good football team, but we're a decent football team. I mean, you're 1-4, you're not a good football team, but we can do things correctly. And then when we're not focused, times it looks like we haven't seen a football. But again, we've tried to simplify things, trying to say, all right, this is your job, get it done. And hopefully we can do that and not have young mistakes. And I'm sure Coach Webster would probably say the same things. You can see, watching them play at moments, they are throwing the football, catching the football, making some plays, and others, it's not. I know it's not what he's coaching, and so, it's. I guess the best way I can put it is a little frustrating sometimes.
When you look at Watertown, they got the quarterback, Waldorf, who's a sophomore, who can really throw it. He's got a couple of kids, Bratcher, number 1, Reynolds, number 2, who can catch the football. They've been beat up a little bit at the running back position, and they've had to move some people in and out, but they've got some weapons.
Yeah, they've got some weapons. Number 2 looks the part. He looks like he's a 6'8" football player, and number 1, sophomore, making some good plays. Both of those are playing on both sides of the football. Number 11 playing on both sides of the football, and number 81 playing on both sides of the football. And then when you look at the running backs, it's been by committee, 21, 26, 8, 11. All of them have, but a good cast of skill characters that are, playing both ways because of obviously numbers and injuries. But they have got some pieces that, I told our kids, if you think that you're going to walk on to Watertown High School and they're going to roll over and play dead, that's not going to happen. They don't care if you're 6A. They don't care what it is. That it would really jumpstart their season to come in and get a win.
They're coming off a win. They're 1-4. They beat Cascade last week by a score of 20-3. Put that game away with a couple of fourth-quarter touchdowns.
I feel like they got up and they didn't feel like Cascade could score on them, so they started running the football and said, we're not going to beat ourselves, and then popped one and then kind of short field and got another one, but salted away the way you want to. It was never, when you watch the film, it's never in question. And so, little momentum, winning cures a lot of ills, they say. And so, hopefully that we can get back on that track this week.
Coming off a football game last week, Chuck, it was 28-28 at the half, and I made the comment, if you came for a football game there in that football, if you came to Green Hill looking for a football game, a track meet broke out in that first half. There were big plays on both sides of the football, both sidelines, people making plays.
Yeah, we get the ball and go down, go 3 and out. Then we have a, block punt. Here they are, 7-0. They kick it off to us. Jadon Stafford takes it back, 7-7. And I don't know the things, but it's 14-7, 14-14, 21-14, 21-21, 28-28, and we went to half, and we met as coaches and we talked about 2 or 3 things, and we made minor adjustments. Like, this is what we need to do. This is what we need to do. And in the second half, we didn't do our part. We didn't. I guess we didn't take the baton and run if the track meet broke out. But their quarterback had a good night, and they scored early in the third quarter. It's third down, and our defensive coaches said, we're on their side of the 50. You got 2 downs, and we didn't execute 2 plays in a row. Gave them the ball, end up getting a stop on the interception, and then about popped the first one, about popped the second one, but fumble, and we get it down 14. We're down 14 points, and then the onside kick happened, which I don't even want to talk about, but then we're down 21, and I think our kids kind of, the momentum, the moment, the call, come unraveled a little bit. And again, it was frustrating, but that's not an excuse to do unravel. And from that point on, I don't think we ever got back to what we were being successful with in the first half, because we were throwing it more and pressing and people making mistakes that they shouldn't make.
There was plenty good in the first half still, things that needed to be done better, cleaner. You go back, you look at the film, there were some positives you could draw on in that game.
Yeah. I mean, offensively in the first half, we were, minus the first 3 plays, we were probably better than we've been all year. They had only had 7 points scored on them, and with the help of special teams, we scored 28, and felt like we were moving the ball, and that they never really stopped us. It was us, and we missed on a long pass play there also, where we had a guy open, and we worked it all week. We come up and say down, and we get the look we want. We know what we're doing, and we get him open, and we overthrow him by that much, right through the fingertips, and it's just close in inches. But then get to halftime, and all right, let's don't get in our own way. Let's play ball, and then that other stuff happens, and again, defensively we weren't good. The quarterback making plays in space. Sometimes we look like we don't even tackle, and that's what we do most of the time. We've been more live tackling this year than we have been, and it's not showing up, and it's just one of those things that you've got to get people on the ground, and you can't get misaligned, and the things that we're doing, it just can't happen. We give up a post route, man coverage post route in the middle of the field, where they double move us, and our kid lined up too wide, he pedaled out. He's playing the corner route, which we say if they complete the corner route, like they completed the first one on Dane, good throw, good catch. Hey, good job, Green Hill, good coverage, so be it. But you give them the middle of the field wide open, no pressure, missing line up front, don't get what we're supposed to. He pedals backwards, give him all day to throw it, lollipop, touchdown. That kind of stuff you can't do. It's not good football, so we're working to fix that, and hopefully we can. But I think we've talked about it for 5 weeks. We can't put ourselves in holes where we're playing us and somebody else.
got some people kind of beat up again, and you're going to have other guys that are going to have to step up as you get ready to play Watertown on Friday night.
Yeah, we've got a lot of bumps and bruises, and I can't tell you right now who will be out there, who won't. You know, some of it may depend on field conditions, some of it may depend on how they progress the next 2 or 3 days. We've had, you know, most of them on the practice field, but not necessarily full speed and going and that kind of stuff. But we'll, you know, next man up, and so, you know, we'll see how it goes. And one man's misfortune is another's opportunity. So, you know, hopefully we can get some people to step up or get some people healthy, and the ones that are out there play accordingly.
Well, and again, a great opportunity. If somebody in front of you is hurt, unable to go, next man, there's your chance to play on a Friday night. It's not JV, it's legit. The lights are on, the officials are wearing stripes. It's a big deal on Friday night.
Well, you know, you said it earlier a while ago. We're probably going to have several sophomores out there too, and some that maybe haven't seen as much playing time as they've wanted. So, you know, as we wanted, you know, all right, your time's up. Let's go. The lights are on, and you got the good uniform on. It's not a JV game, so this one counts, and let's go.
You mentioned you've got one more freshman game to be played. They only played, what, 7 or 8 games during the season? 7
or maybe 8 this year. I'm not sure. With that and the JV on Monday night, it all runs together. But we've got one left. We play Watertown at home, which will be our freshmen and some of our sophomores against his freshman and sophomore bunch. He may have 2 or 3 juniors in there. He said that to give him enough to play, but he said they hadn't played very much and want to play. So hopefully the weather will get in, get out, get gone, and we'll be able to line up on Monday and play and not have the risk of tearing our field all to pieces.
The freshman JV aspect of it, that's important. That's your in-house feeder. You can control that, and great opportunity for those kids to get a lot of work.
Yeah, I mean, you know, they're out there on the practice field with us every day. Sometimes our sophomores go down and practice with our freshmen. Sometimes we bring freshmen up, you know, and see. But you know, it's good that it's the same terminology, same coaching, same stuff, and there's not a big major gap from freshman football to sophomore football. Now, there is a leap because there is a difference, but it's not too big. And, you know, we've had a lot of sophomores play for us, and I think that's because we coach our freshmen, us, and not anybody else. It's not a separate entity. It's with us, and we go. And sometimes that makes it hard on us. Sometimes it's some of those sophomore, junior guys that are JV don't get as much work as they need. But, again, it's how we do it. We try to stagger it and be able to coach all of them. But there's pros and cons to both of it. But well, that's the way we decide to do it, and we feel like it's worked for us pretty good.
For Lebanon folks going to Watertown, Robinson Stadium's a great place to watch a football game. And as you're on your way, the official chocolate milk of Lebanon High football comes out of Shop Springs Creamery, 2816 Sparta Pike. Maybe you stop in on the way and have a cold dip of ice cream before you go to the football game. And this week's team's meal sponsors: Monday, the Kiwanis Club of Lebanon fed the 9th graders in the JV. Thursday, Crystal House will feed the team, and on Friday, Wilson Bank and Trust. Chuck, best of luck to you and the Blue Devils. Have a good next couple of days of practice and get ready to go for Watertown.
Thank you, Tommy. And I will say, me and Jeff Clemens, at the last time we were going to Watertown for our freshman combo game, we stopped in at Shop Springs, and it made the trip. And then the last time I went to a junior pro to go meet Sabre and Aggie, on the way, I stopped at Shop Springs Creamery, and so I'm 2-0 stopping at Shop Springs Creamery. So I think me and Jeff and Zach Carter are going to leave just a little early. I don't care if it's raining or not. We're going to pull in and stop, and I don't know about those two, but I think we'll get us a scoop or two.
Chuck Gentry, head coach of the Blue Devils, with us here on the first segment of the show. We'll be back with more right after these words. second segment of the show features Tim Mathis, head coach at Cumberland University. Let me run down our scoreboard from last week. Green Hill over Lebanon 52-28. Mount Juliet defeated Cookeville 38-21. Nashville Christian 58. Mount Juliet Christian nothing. Watertown 20. Cascade 3. Shelbyville 44. Wilson Central nothing. And Republic forfeited to Friendship Christian. And we found out, now the athletic director never called me back and told me, and I only called her 5 times, that Republic is forfeiting the rest of their season. That's 3 out of 5 seasons Republic has not finished their season. Pardon me for getting on my soapbox a little bit there, pal. But on Saturday, Cumberland 47, Florida Memorial 35. The Phoenix go to 4-0 on the season. First time that football program has been 4-0 since 2017. Tim, the one thing that jumped out at me, you played a lot of guys defensively, and just by going by your stats, 22 different kids recorded tackles in that game. You had a lot of guys active, participating, and banging around there on the defensive side of the football.
Yeah, I mean, it's what you coach. It's you know, you want 11 people at the football when the play's over too, and that kind of shows with the 22 different guys with tackles that, you know, we were flying around getting to the football.
You had 3 interceptions in the first half, really making plays on the football.
They did a fantastic job, and you know, as if we don't have, I think we ended up getting them to turn it over 4 times. We might not win the game if we don't get 4 turnovers, and we knew that going into the game that their offense was really, really good, and it, you know, being there, you saw that the running backs are special guys, just a difference maker. Quarterback got injured, who was a pretty good quarterback, but the backup came in and did
he threw it all over the place.
He did a really good job. And they just, you know, they got a lot of athletes. Like I said, Saturday after the game, I'm sure they got a lot of guys down there chasing rabbits in those sugar cane fields down there, because there's just athletes just all over the field, and our guys did a great job of making plays when they had to make plays.
I know particularly after the football game, we talked briefly, and you were so proud of the effort of your offensive front. Your running game averaged 7 yards a carry. That is winning football, no doubt.
I mean, you know, I think I told Christian during the pregame interview or whatever that if we controlled the clock and didn't turn the ball over, you know, didn't say anything about running that way, but, you know, I think we held the ball 33 or 34 minutes, and you get 7 yards a carry, you're kind of hard to stop. And you know, we just did a really good job. They didn't have an answer for our read game and running the football with Luke either handing it off or keeping it or whatever, and they couldn't figure that part out. And so we had a field day, whether it was either him running or the backs running. It's just they didn't have an answer for it, and we did a great job of. I was so pleased with the offensive line, and again, I say that, you know, I still don't think we've played great up there yet. We did play really good, but we can play a whole lot better. But they're getting confidence too, and we're getting some guys back, which is even better because you know, we've had some guys not getting to play yet that are pretty darn good offensive linemen, but they're starting to gel really well, and I've just been trying to preach a mentality of just, you know, a killer instinct and take control of the game. I think we took control of the game Saturday.
I don't think there's much doubt. And when you look at the things that Luke Holloway, Jacob Corneo were able to do with the football in their hands, Luke Holloway, quarterback, Mid-South Conference Offensive Player of the Week. He had 246 yards from scrimmage, accounted for 4 touchdowns, 3 rushing, 1 passing. Corneo, the freshman, 102 yards on 8 carries. And then he put the game away when you guys ran the inside zone. And there's a picture that Lindsey Rutledge of our publication, the Wilson Post, had, where there's a gaping hole. And it's 3 bodies wide that Jacob's running through, and he goes 57 to the house for the touchdown that pretty much locked up the football game. And you want your offensive line to execute on every play. when you look at the raw numbers, though, Tim, the job you guys did running the football, do you have to hunt for things for these guys to get better at, or are there some things that jump out?
I mean, there were things that jumped out. We missed several assignments. You missed a bunch of assignments, and they did. We ran for 353 yards. You don't do that unless you're blocking.
Yeah.
But there were, we missed a bunch of assignments too that we could have had a whole lot more yardage and a lot bigger plays, several more big plays that we didn't come off our combo blocks in time to get that scraping linebacker or whatever, come off too late, and it's just fine tuning those. But it's a work in progress. But they're getting better at it, and they're getting confidence in it and all that. But you can't. I'm not going to sit there and just fillet it and say we played bad. We played really well, but we can play a whole lot better. And even you can go back to that. Well, you didn't really throw the ball, and that's we missed a bunch of what we were running. There was an RPO tagged on it, and Luke could have had well over close to 200 yards passing. He didn't throw a bunch of balls he should have thrown. There were guys that were wide open that were just pre-snap before the read, but he handed it off, and we're blocking it anyway, the run game. But there were a lot of 7 and 8 yard throws that he didn't make that we could get better at. It's going to help us down the road. We need to make those because it makes it easier to run the ball if you can back them off a little bit. And like the run happened there at the end of the game, when you line up there, you're like, we might get this first down. It's 3rd and 2. And you might get it because there's
3rd and 2 at the middle of the field. Yeah.
There's 10 guys on the line of scrimmage and a free safety playing middle linebacker. But you put the tape on, and it's a clinic on how to run the inside zone, and everybody picked up who they're supposed to pick up blocking, and then your picture demonstrates it. I mean, it was my fat butt could have ran through that hole or woggled through it or whatever, but it was just blocked perfectly, and we give our guys a chance to do that in a hole like that, and we're going to take it to the house.
When you talk about the combo blocks and people hear about getting the back to the second level, the running game, the offensive line initiates the block, and maybe it starts as a double team, but somebody slides off and picks up that linebacker. What we used to call it block 1 through 2 to get where you want to go, and if you can do that, you can get people up. And
a lot of times your 2 or 3 yard runs are we didn't get to the second level, we didn't come off in time, or they scraped over us and we didn't see them or whatever. So that's what I'm talking about. We can get better at. We're not there yet doing it, but we're getting better at it, and that's going to be a work in progress all the time. That's not you're never going to be just perfect at that. That's always a work in progress. But, those are the things you can, when you run for 353 yards, you can nitpick if, we missed this guy, we've got to come off. Because there's going to be a time where that matters in a game. If we come off, we get the first down or we win the game, or, those things do matter, because it did matter that, we're as many times as we had them turn the ball over, it was still a tough time stopping that offense. They were a good offense skill-wise, and if we don't make that perfect zone block there for the 50-yard run and put the game away, we're still in a battle. Do we win or we don't win there? So it's always a strive to be better.
We talked a couple of weeks ago about maybe conditioning. This football team wasn't where you wanted to be. Saturday was probably one of the hottest football games there at that stadium that I can remember. A little on the humid side too. How did you think your guys fared conditioning?
We are better conditioned, and what's really mattered, especially up front, offensively, was we rotated some guys, which helped, and it kind of hurt us defensively, because we had some guys that were banged up, so we couldn't rotate like we normally. We usually rotate heavy, especially on the D line, and we had some guys, Des Wallace and Joey Samples, that played every snap on defense, and you don't need that on the defensive line. So, this week couldn't come at a better time to get some guys healthy or whatever, because that was part of our problem defensively is the rotation. We had some guys that played a lot of snaps, which is normally not the case, but it is a lot better than it was in that Missouri Baptist game. We were in a lot better condition, but part of that is us as coaches too, trusting some guys and rotating guys.
You've got an open week, which, by all accounts, probably hit at a pretty good time. You had 4 non-conference games. You start conference play on October the 5th at Campbellsville, but this week is pretty much about Cumberland.
That's what that's how we're treating it. We're treating it about Cumberland getting better and working on us doing what we need to do to hit, because that's, we have this off week now. Now we got the gamut of conference play and we don't get a break. So, we do need this breather going into really the heart of our schedule, because I talked to him Saturday after the game that, because I always preach to him, we hadn't done anything yet, and we've done something now. We went non-conference, we went undefeated, and that's there's no knocking that. That's great.
We can't do any better than
we can't do any better than that, but we've done nothing in the conference now. We haven't done anything yet, so it's 0-0 now, and this is what matters. If we're going to win a conference championship, this is where it starts. This is what matters. So this week is about us getting ready for conference play.
I know it's a week out. What do you know about Campbellsville? They've had a pretty good non-conference start, right?
They've had a pretty good. They got one more game this week against Roosevelt University out of Chicago. They're a Division II school now. They just went Division II, so don't know a lot about them, but. So they play them, but they've scored a lot of points on offense, but they've given up a lot of points too. They're similar in some ways. I don't think they're as athletic as Florida Memorial, but they're similar to them in they score a bunch of points, but they give up a bunch of points. So we got to have that same mindset on the offensive side of the ball. Is we got to, every chance we get, we got to try to put points on the board, and defensively is just. Do what we did against Florida Memorial. We need to cause them to either punt or turn the ball over. Give our offense an extra opportunities to move the ball. And we got to keep the ball from them. Most teams that like to score a whole bunch of points get antsy and they panic and they start doing things they're not supposed to do if they feel like they're not getting the ball enough. So we got to keep the ball away from them, because it looks like they have a pretty potent offense.
When you look at this week with no game at the end of the week, concentrating on what you're doing, hopefully you get a couple of kids back out on the field who have been kind of beat up for it. We are getting Mitchell Bear, the Fellowship Christian alumni that we have on the line that was hurt early in camp is back in the rotation now at guard, which is unbelievably awesome. Hopefully next week we get Drake Fisher back, so another offensive lineman that was hurt early and we'll be at full strength on the offensive line. And it's really the biggest deal. We're about to where he's about 9 months out, where we get Devin Williams back from his ACL tear last year, so he might be back Campbellsville, if not Campbellsville, the next week. So offensively we're getting it, and defensively it's really guys just kind of nicks and bumps and bruises and stuff. You just want to get them healthy, and this week has allowed us to back off of them and let some guys get a breather to get healthy going into the conference, because we got to have every guy on deck to start this conference. When you go to Campbellsville, how many kids can you take on the bus with you? There's a travel limit?
There's really not. It goes into, the lack of a better term, I always use a salary cap for NAIA or whatever. But and you get to play 2 games without counting toward your salary cap too. So we have younger guys that we might play them in the 1 or 2 going into that too.
So there's probably some decisions to be made.
There's some decisions to be made, and some guys that we were counting anyway, like Mitchell and Drake, that we've been counting anyway, that because we knew we were going to get them back. But we're going to travel as many guys as we need to travel to win the game.
I'm just trying to think one more thing. With it being a 6 o'clock start, it kind of changes your game day routine, but we'll probably talk about that a little bit more next week. Will you practice Friday? Will you give them a day off? How will you handle it?
We'll practice tomorrow, and then we're going to give them the weekend off. And most of our kids haven't been home since they moved up here.
Yeah.
So this week we'll give them the whole weekend off. Let them if they want to go home, they can go home, what have you. But they need this break from just doing nothing, and then we'll go back into the regular game week where we don't practice on Mondays anyway because that's our prep day. So they're going to get a long weekend of
and there's no
football.
class on Friday, right?
For most all the kids, unless you have there's some labs and some tutoring stuff that happens on Friday that some guys go to, but for the most part, most guys don't. So, some of them might leave Thursday after practice or whatever if they're close enough where they don't have to travel far. But, that helps them have a long weekend. They can go home and Mama can feed them real well and go back to, some of these guys go back to see their high school teams play and all that. But it'll be a nice break for them because, like I said, after that, it's 6 weeks of straight football.
Tim, thanks for the visit as always. Enjoy this rest of the open week and start getting ready for Campbellsville.
Thank you.
All right, pal.
Go Phoenix.
Tim Mathis, head coach at Cumberland, with us on the second segment of the show. Stay tuned. We'll be back with more after these words. Our third and final segment of the show from Town Square Social, Coach's Night Out, is the show. Advantage Roofing Contractors, LLC, Shop Springs Creamery, the Salas Realty Group, THW Insurance Services, LLC, Cumberland University Athletics, DT McCall and Sons, Carthage, Lafayette, Franklin, Cookeville, Lebanon, home of free delivery. They all make this program possible, and we appreciate it. Gavin Webster, head coach at Watertown, with us in the final segment of the show. You got a win last week, and I know that was getting a big monkey off your back right there.
Oh, yeah, it feels good. Anytime you get a win, it does, especially when we've had some close ones first 3 games, So felt good for the kids, getting that. They've been working hard toward it.
Well, and you have played close ones, and there were some games where you're right there at the end of the football game, just a little bit away from either tying one up or winning the football game.
Yeah, we have. Other than the DeKalb game, I think the first 3 games, we were right there at it.
Yeah.
Kids kept fighting. That's one thing. They keep fighting and they keep clawing and trying to get that win. And we're just right there. We're 1 or 2 plays away each game from getting the win. So. It's good. It's good to get that win last week and to get that monkey off your back and move forward.
You're a football team that has, up until that Cascade game, excuse me, thrown it around a pretty good amount, but you got a lead against Cascade and you decided, hey, let's take care of the football and let's run it. You scored a couple of running touchdowns late in the game. Shows you can do a little bit of both on offense.
Well, Cascade they did something to us defensively that we really wasn't prepared for. That kind of, took away a lot of our passing game, and then the penalties. We had a lot of penalties, and it just kind of it dictated a lot, and we had some things happen to us, turnovers. We had 3 turnovers. I think it was like 13 penalties, which was unspeakable of. So when you're doing that and you're sitting here thinking about throwing the ball down the field, and they were giving us a 5-man box. You get a 5-man box, you should be able to run the ball. So that was kind of our choice. They're going to give us a 5-man box. They're going to dare us to run the ball.
Just put a hat on a hat.
Well, yeah, and that's what they were trying to take away our receivers on both sides of the ball, and they did have us outnumbered there and gave us a 5-man box, and we're sitting there, okay, if you're going to do that, we're going to run the ball right at you. And that was something I really didn't know how well we could do, especially with, we go down a running back in the first half, our starting running back with Harper, and then we go with Oliver, who they kind of rotate in and out. And then we take one of our receivers who plays H-back, and second half we start feeding him the ball. And he had a good game. So, we had running the ball, we had some good things happen.
And your quarterback, Waldorf, wound up running the ball a little bit more than he has in the previous football games.
Yeah, he did, and it was some design runs for him, and we just kind of got to looking at this, some things, we like to spread the field, and people try to take away some certain things that he likes to do, and we're like, okay, we got to start getting him some carries and just kind of keep the defense honest. So that's kind of what we went to, and he hit some good runs the other night.
Well, and again, his versatility, you look at him, big, tall kid's got that good arm on him, but to have that other aspect to his football game makes you guys a lot tougher to defend.
Oh, it does. Anytime, if you got a quarterback that's sitting back there and throwing, and you're not doing any read zone or anything like that, it makes it easier to defend. But if you put the ball in his hands and the defense now has to account for him and RPOs and this, that, and the other, it makes it a lot tougher to defend.
Well, and almost by necessity, you've had to go to that because you've had several running backs kind of get beat up this year, haven't you?
Oh, yeah, we lost, unfortunately, we lost senior starting running back, inside linebacker to ACL, junior who backed him up as running back, and he was the other inside linebacker to ACL, and also lost a lineman senior. So
what are the odds?
Tommy, this all happened. We come back in July. I can't think of the first date, but the first one was a junior. It was kind of a freak accident, 7-on-7. And the next thing I know, next scrimmage, and I'm like, what's going on? And we only had 6 seniors.
Yeah, you didn't have very many to begin with.
Yeah, we got 6 seniors. We're down to 4 that's playing, so we're predominantly a junior, sophomore-led football team.
Well, and to have it takes a certain amount of patience, Gavin, to say, all right, this is who we are. These kids are going to play, and you don't say that you're building for 2 years down the road, but the benefits are coming from having to play these guys.
Oh, yeah, and that's one thing. The benefits are coming, and that's one thing I keep sounding off week after week after week, that these guys don't quit. Even the Cab game, I think we wound up getting beat by 15. I can't remember the exact score, but we were in it there for late in the there early in the fourth quarter. And and they had the better talent. More athleticism, but our guys just kept fighting. They just kept hanging in there and clawing, and that's what you want to see. And that's one thing that makes I never thought I would say enjoyable about being 1-4, but knowing that they keep fighting. There's a big difference in 1-4. Teams quit on you, not fighting, and 1-4, and these guys keep fighting and they keep coming back.
It sounds like a great bunch of kids to be around, and it sounds like a fun group to coach.
They are. They're still sophomore, and they still, you still got to put up with some stuff. They're not very mature, but you still kind of just walk off field sometimes like, okay, But they're fun to coach, and I love being around them, and it's all I can ask for.
Defensively, you've given up some points. Again, you're playing a lot of young guys over there. Now you're into the second half of the season. This is week 6. Is there some growth still for those guys over there?
Well, I think there's some. I think they've grown a lot, but I still think there's some growth there to be. Like I said, some of them first year they played, even though they sophomores, first year they've even played. As far as since junior high. So. They're working to get better. We still got growth every day. I'm not going to say we can't ever stop growing, because you can always keep learning and keep growing. So they're still learning.
You've always been a big weight room guy. During the season, are you working during the season to get stronger? Is it a maintenance thing? How often are you in the weight room with the guys? Talk about that a little bit.
We're in the weight room at least 4 days a week. Maintenance, if you're trying to maintain, then somebody's going to get ahead of you. So Coach Haggett runs our weight program, and we have them predominantly last block of the day. We have them all. So, we're still working to get stronger, and I've always kind of like, if you're sitting back just trying to maintain during the season, then somebody's going to get ahead of you. So we still try to, predominantly try to lift heavy, and we may cut back on a few things, later in the week. But early in the week, we're still working hard in there.
Chuck talked about you're going to have a JV freshman kind of get together on Monday. Those things are important, and with your numbers, you haven't been able to play a bunch of those, have you?
We haven't. We had, we've played 2, and then after the Cab, we had to cancel that one just because had some guys go out, and it was just kind of one of those things. Somebody said something about it, and I said, well, come Friday night, a lot of our JV guys are playing on Friday nights,
Yeah.
But, some of those freshmen, they deserve to play. And then, unfortunately, we had one last week got canceled on. So I told Chuck, I said, we're going to do everything in our best effort. We'll be there Monday night. We're going to play. Not sure if we'll get another one after that. If we can, we will. But we'll just kind of take it one day at a time. Our numbers aren't big right now. And that's one thing, because, when you're looking at it, it's linemen. And so we got a lot of sophomore linemen that a lot of them are like starting on defense, So, and then we had some guys injured, so that's kind of dictated that also. We had some freshmen injured with concussion and going through protocol and stuff like that. So that dictated a lot of that also. So hopefully we get everybody back healthy. We can get our numbers back up a little bit and get this game in Monday.
You've lost kids to graduation, and I got to looking. I took a picture. Cumberland had picture day, and I get up there and I said, okay, I need all the Rutherford County guys over here, all the Sumner guys here. Let me get the Wilson County guys here. And there must have been 6 Watertown guys in that picture.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of them, and some at other schools playing. You've run some good kids through that program in the last 3 or 4 years.
Oh, we have, yeah. We got, I would say you probably right about 6 at Cumberland right now, and got 1 at Bethel, and we got some kids out there, and they're repping some playing time, which is always good. It's good for us, good for them.
A couple of kids that have stuck out to me are a couple of your pass catchers, Bratcher,
Jesse
Bratcher, and Reynolds, the number
Marcus.
1 and number 2.
Yeah.
They can make some plays and can go up and get the football.
Yeah, they do a good job. You know, they do a good job stretching the field, and they're athletic enough to, you know, to make some stuff happen on some short passes and things like that. And they do a good job.
And they're playing both ways, right?
They're both playing both ways, yeah.
And probably on special teams as well.
Yeah, and we try to get them a little break if we can, but yeah, predominantly they don't come off the field.
This is something that's not in your control, but I know the school is making a big deal out of this. At halftime, they're going to recognize the 64 team for the anniversary of their 9-7 win over Lebanon in the Lafayette Industrial Bowl. I know Ken Beck had a story about that a couple of years ago in our paper. Coach Brownie said, we're not going to play Lebanon again after that. And you know, funny how things turned around, but still a very proud moment for Watertown football, and I applaud the school for bringing those guys back and recognizing them on the anniversary.
Yeah, and I hope it's you know, of course we have no control over this weather, and I hope it can still happen. You know, other than, you know, I know they're looking forward to doing that, and it's good to recognize those guys. You know, especially what you said, 64. You know, a lot of years ago. I wasn't even born yet, by the way. But anyway, it's good. You know, I think it's good for the community and good for the school. You know, as a coach, you know, some I kind of think, well, I don't want that to happen or not. You know, but playing Lebanon, but you know, it's good for the community and good for those guys to get recognized because, you know, who would have thought that would happen back then? You know, nobody probably did, and it just happened. So. You know, hopefully they can get recognized Friday night. Hopefully this weather will hold off enough where they can, and we'll have a good crowd.
Will the weather impact how you play the football game?
I guess it's hard to say. You know, yes and no. You know, it depends on. You know, I know they're talking about could have some high winds and. You know, end of the day, Tommy, I guess you asked that question. We're going to try to do what we do. You know, if we scale back from that, then we're not going to have very much success. So we're going to do what we do, and hopefully we can capitalize and make some things happen.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. I've told people before, I've never been treated badly at Watertown.
Yeah.
I've been treated badly some other places I've traveled to, but Darren Brown. And you and the folks at Watertown High School have always put on a first-class operation there on game day. And I know the Lebanon folks who make the trip, and I've advised them, stop at Shop Springs Creamery on the way down there.
You can't beat that place.
To hit that on the way down. And concessions are always first rate. I'm looking forward to going and knowing that things are going to be done right in the press box, and I look forward to this football game, and I hope you have the good crowd in there. It was Lebanon's biggest crowd last year at Lebanon. I hope that flips and you guys have the biggest crowd you've had in a while.
I hope it does too. Hopefully this hurricane will change its mind on what direction it's going, but I don't know if it's going to. But you know, we'll see.
Hey, thanks for the visit. I always
thank you,
appreciate
Tommy.
it. David Webster, head coach at Watertown, with us here on Coach's Night Out from Town Square Social. For Richard, for Thomas, for all the people that make this program possible, thank you. I'm Tommy Bryan. I'll talk to you later.